Evening, everyone. We have two meetings tonight. The first will be a joint meeting between the Urbana City Council and the Cunningham Town Board. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Okay, first let me let everyone know that Councilmember Jacobson will not be with us tonight. Councilmember and Trustees Brown.
Here.
Colebrook.
Here.
Hersey.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Roberts.
Here.
Wu.
Here.
Mayor Marlin.
Here.
Supervisor Chenoweth.
Present.
And Assessor Williams, is he here?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have a forum. Next up is public input. Does anyone wish to address the joint meeting of the Urbana City Council and Town Board? If you do so, please raise your hand in the participant as a participant. I see no one. We have one item of business here. It's a discussion of consolidated social service funding for fiscal year 2021. Is that Sheila Dodd or Danielle Chenoweth?
We're both here.
Okay. Please begin.
Okay, so just quickly, the application process for this year's consolidated social service funding started in January, and applications were due the end of February. And then in March, COVID happened. So the team, Danielle, the Township and Urbana staff met and looked at the application we'd received and felt that it was best to make funding recommendations to this group based on the highest need for the community, and then to put off discussing the others for a couple of months to go back to these agencies and see if they wanted to amend their applications to meet any changing needs that might have happened from COVID. We felt like it wouldn't be fair to move forward at this point, given that their applications were done prior to the pandemic, and as we know, everything's changed since then. Did I cover it all, Danielle?
Yeah, I think the recommendation on the table is for us to do full funding to the food security organizations. And I believe that they're listed in the memo that you have before you. But essentially, there are a number of folks who submitted applications that require, the program requires in-person interaction, such as youth-based services and things like that. And so we think it's important to give people an opportunity to pivot in this moment. And also perhaps there are needs that have arisen that were not, not as urgent. And so just because they can't do the program that is listed doesn't mean that there isn't a need there. So want to give them the opportunity to do that. And we might do some more kind of rolling applications into the summer.
Right.
Are there any questions for Sheila or Danielle? Bill Brown?
Go for the fiscal year begins first.
I'm sorry?
Can you repeat your question, Bill?
This is still for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And some of these other organizations that I know that some of them, like Fair, are actively involved in handling things that have come up with COVID pandemic. So have they been informed that they can resubmit their applications?
We'll be reaching out to all of the agencies that submitted completed applications and asking them to please review and give them an opportunity to make any program changes or updates that they feel are necessary. And that'll happen during the month of June, and then the group will get together again in July or August to make those funding recommendations.
So any organizations that were depending on this funding to July 1st will have to wait till August or September. It sounds like.
Right. Yeah, and just some background. So historically, the council has made decisions in June or July. We notify and prepare contracts in August. And honestly, I can't remember a time when a group asked for funding before October. We're hoping, even with some of the delays, that we can turn around the contracts very quickly, because we do know there's urgency. And you mentioned an immigrant rights group, a support group, and I think that that's one example of several where there's really some urgency. That said, some of the program descriptions will need to shift and change. So we are moving forward with the immigrant support groups at this time, but I certainly agree that that's an area where people are moving, and we could have money in their hands for the council to approve in July, within a few weeks of that approval, early August.
Right.
Okay, thanks. I'm in favor of what you've proposed so far. I mean, healthcare consumers is going to be busy with all the newly unemployed people trying to get covered and make sure that it's a qualified event that they can qualify for care act and that sort of thing. Do you know if they're planning on expanding staff to help handle this surge?
I have not heard one or the other, but we know that they have a greatly increased, just like Township, we're both experiencing real crunch. Certainly healthcare consumers has stepped up their activities, but I don't know if that's come with an increase in staff. I could check on that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Jared Miller?
Just wanted to double check. We're not voting on this. This is just a discussion item this evening, and you guys are essentially looking for guidance for us to say, go ahead and fund 3 and we'll talk about the rest later.
That's correct.
Okay. I would concur with Bill. I certainly understand the reasoning behind it and the need for the 3 that we're offering to fund now. So I would say, as far as my concern, that you guys are on the right path.
And for the public record, could you list those 3 people or 3 organizations?
Sure, that's healthcare consumers. They requested $20,000. Sola Gracia requested $6,500, and Wesley Food Pantry requested $10,000. And all 3 agencies will be funded at their full request.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Sharice? Turn your microphone on, please. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I was wondering, because there's a food pantry over here. I forget the name of it. East. I forget the name of it. Oh my gosh. And I go by there.
The Wesley.
Huh?
Wesley's the only food pantry that applied to our program.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, I was going to ask if any other food pantries had applied for any assistance.
Eastern Illinois Food Bank put in an application.
Okay.
And that is
That's
one
okay.
agency we'll be reaching back out to, because they have received, as an emergency relief, they have received some funding through the COVID. And so they may want to be able to shift their program request as well. But these others didn't receive other funding that we're aware of. So we aren't going to say no to Eastern Illinois Food Bank, but they're just, we'll reach back out.
Okay. I just wanted to know if that would be one of the agencies that you'd be discussing during June.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks, Sheila.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Dennis? No. Okay.
Not really. It sounds reasonable to me. The request is appropriate and I support it as well.
Okay. Sounds like there's consensus. if I'm hearing correctly. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with no further business before the joint meeting, this meeting is adjourned. And we'll move on to the Urbana City Council meeting as soon as the clerk gives me the high sign.